A school district of the future prepares lifelong learners to demonstrate mastery of 21st century competencies that will equip them for continuous success.
DeKalb County School District is a leader in K-12 and early childhood education and has developed a comprehensive master plan to ensure school improvements are made throughout the DCSD community.
Students can reach their fullest potential and excel when schools are well maintained and capital resources are up to date.
Whether it's state-of-the-art learning spaces, our 7 robotic programs, renovated and innovative schools, or technology devices for every child,
these resources and investments not only benefit the DCSD community, but also the taxpayers of DeKalb County.
A top priority for DCSD is supporting social and emotional skills of young learners and their families, and our Early Learning Center addresses the readiness gap.
Every 5 years, we assess DCSD schools and facilities, technology equipment, and examine construction to address overcrowding and to accommodate growth so that DCSD scholars can thrive. To achieve and excel, we provide technology at your fingertips with anytime, anywhere access, infrastructure enhancements, business system integration, and instructional tools to support top-of-the-line connectivity and cybersecurity, and a family impact hub that meets diverse families where they are.
So, how do we pay for these general improvements to impact student achievement and positively affect the DCSD community?
E-SPLOST is a 1-penny sales tax that allows school districts to fund their capital improvements. The voters of DeKalb County will be asked to extend the 1-penny sales tax for another 5 years. This education special purpose local option sales tax is critical to building our children's future and equipping our community for success.
So it is now 6:08 and our meeting for August 2022 is now called to order. Everyone should have the agenda. The first item on our agenda is to review and approve the August 24th, 2022 meeting agenda. Are there any additions or deletions from the August agenda? All right, so hearing none, can we, by unanimous consent, if there are no objections, agree to the agenda as distributed? All right, hearing no objections, the meeting agenda is now approved. Next on our agenda is review and approval of the minutes from the July 27th, 2022 meeting minutes. Are there any corrections to the meeting minutes? Or, yeah. All right. Can we, by unanimous consent, if there are no objections, approve the meeting minutes as distributed for July 27th, 2022? Okay, hearing none, the meeting minutes are now approved for July 27th, 2022. Next on our agenda is discussion of follow-up matters from our prior meeting. And first on the list is the report on the E-SPLOST items presented at the August 2022 Board of Education meeting.
All right, so we had 3 items to report on. First item was the approval of Program Management Services Contract Award to ACERM Project Management. A joint venture between AECOM and CERM. CERM is Corporate Environmental Risk Management for $15,185,671.64. Next item was the closeout of E-SPLOST 5 projects. We were closing, let me get these straight. Fence installation A, fence installation B, and that's, I'm sorry, that's project 111, project 112, Project 113, fence installation C, Project 203, Peachtree Middle School, Project 221, John Lewis Elementary School, Project 222, New Elementary School for Cross Keys North, that's Doraville United, and then Project 321, plumbing fixture replacement. Those were completed, and so we closed those out financially. And we also removed all the remaining funds from Project 201 Cross Keys High School, and that was the project where we were going to renovate the high school into middle school. That's no longer needed because we're doing a modernization of Cross Keys High School. And then Project 356 to provide work there. That project will be superseded by the new Sequoia Middle School High School project that will incorporate that site. So that was the closeout of E-SPLOST 5 projects. Then the last item was the approval of the fiscal year 2024 capital outlay application going to the Georgia Department of Education. So that was item 4A, and I'll just roll right into item 5. So item 5 is or number 5 is the contract award list. So the only contract we had of those 3 items was the first one, the approval of program management services to ASERM project management. And you can see there on the form, the budgeted value of the cost code was 18 million. And then the pending contract amount is 15.1 or 15,185,000 for that. And that's it.
Okay, any questions for Richard on the items that were presented? All right. The next item on our agenda is the contract award list update.
Oh, that was okay. Sorry, I thought I was muted. That was the second item. The one award was ASERM, project management. Budgeted value for that line item 18 million, and the contract was 15,185,000. That, just so you know, that line item is also used for any other consultants that we may need throughout the course of SPLOST, like we always do an annual audit, and that's pulled out of that consultant line item as well.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Richard.
Sure.
Next on the agenda, review of community feedback collected from the E-SPLOST community email address. Daniel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We received several emails since the last meeting. First email is regarding the school district data dashboard operations tab. Emailer suggested that the committee may want to visit this dashboard that is on the district website. This dashboard allows viewers to see the current high-level county work order tracking system. Next item is about E-SPLOST 5 project 21636. Let's see. Apparently they are looking for a reply. Let's see. I'm sorry. It's E-SPLOST 5 project 21635. July 2022 MSR for project 21635. Lakeside High School track and turf installation shows the current budget being 1.6 million. The current commitment is about 2.3 million. Estimated completion of 1.6 million. How can this be true? The project has 740,485 more already committed than is in the budget. How can the estimated completion be less than what is already committed? Let's see. Well, questions about that. Let's see. And another part of the email, E-SPLOST 6 collection has begun, yet there's no E-SPLOST 6 approved project list. Various versions of the list have been presented, yet there are discrepancies and questions about the scope and the cost. That's the gist of that email. Next email has a subject line of E-SPLOST 6 revenue reserve. The E-SPLOST 6 proposed project list from the February 25th, 2022 Board of Education meeting included a $15 million revenue reserve line item in addition to a $70 million program contingency budget. Now that 15 million revenue reserve has vanished, wasn't included in the E-SPLOST 6 project list presented by the school district to the Board of Education last week, although the Board of Education did not take action on the project list. It was a $95 million cost overrun in E-SPLOST 5. I would love for the school district to benefit from your collective experience with construction project budgeting. Last item is a follow-up from Anna Hill in response to the previous email.
Daniel, was I copied on all those?
Let's see.
And I'll do a search for all of them, and I know I've copied on some because
Yes.
I recall
Richard, you
receiving a response. Okay.
Yes, you were copied on all those emails, Richard.
Okay, I'll do a search and look for those and provide replies.
There was emails were sent on August 6th and August 17th.
Oh, was it just two?
Let's see, one on August 6th, 2 emails sent on August 17th, one at 12:45 p.m. and another one at 3:11 p.m.
Oh, 17th.
Okay, were those forwarded to me? Because I don't remember seeing anything.
No, they were not, but I will forward those to you shortly.
Okay. All right, since I didn't get them, I can't take any action on them, so we can't take any action on them. So we'll move right to the next agenda item, the MSR review.
Thank you,
Kimberly, did
Kathy.
you have a question?
No, I did not. I've had to devices.
Okay. Mel?
Yes, thank you. Hopefully everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will dive right in. Section 1, as you know, the MSR provides detail regarding funding. And quick point for this, over the past month of July 2022, no GISFIC reimbursements were received. So for SPLOST 4, we're still at $84,448,369, and for SPLOST 5, reimbursements received. First reimbursement last month was $741,657.60. In terms of Table 1 funding, no change for SPLOST 4 tax receipts. Of course, we've got 100% collected. And I mentioned no GADOE or DISFIC actually reimbursements. Table 2 for SPLOST 5 funding continues to trend well above expectations. You can see now total collected is $826.9 million. That includes $686.1 million in tax receipts collected, and you can see that that's compared to 599.3 million for the period. So sales tax funding revenue continues very strong. At 686.1 million, represents approximately 12.7 million in new tax receipts for the period. We mentioned no DOE reimbursements for this period for SPLOST 5. Table 3, expenditures are key on this table. SPLOST 4 expenditures crept up slightly to 556.2 million. Closing in on our final expenditures in SPLOST 6, the Hightower HVAC project wrapped up for school opening, and we're in closeout phase for that, and that's pretty much it for the active projects in SPLOST 4. For SPLOST 5, expenditures increased to 275.5 million. And that does include all of your non-construction projects as well. And that represents about $3.2 million increase from last period. Chart 1 tracks SPLOST 4 funding commitments and expenditures, and there's the 556.2 million in red that we mentioned from table 2. And then for SPLOST 5, there's the 275.5 million. Again, that's up about 3.2 million, as we noted from table 3. Obviously, not much activity on SPLOST 4. Increased slightly 300,000, representing mostly Hightower. And then SPLOST 5 depicts the breakdown by phase for that 275 million in expenditures. Table 6 provides a breakdown of budget commitments and expenditures by region. And just a reminder that the Region 0 district-wide bucket represents non-construction expenditures, as well as those construction projects that have bundled facilities in one project. And then we made a note that we added Appendix E back in the March monthly status report that allows you to track individual project budgets for each facility back to the tables 8 and 9, broken down by region. Speaking of table 7, that is your cost performance ratio table. And again, for SPLOST 4 and 5, no news is good news in that there are no negative cost variances this period for any of the construction projects. The district salary account 60335 is still carrying that negative balance. Looks like the budget needs to be adjusted. The district analysts are looking into that. Table 8 provides your cost detail for SPLOST 4. That's organized by project number. As you mentioned, any positive or under budget or on budget ratios are depicted in green. Over budget depicted in red. And the shaded lines indicate a project completed or closed out. And recall, we did break out construction projects from district managed. Similarly, table 9 provides a cost detail and cost performance ratios for SPLOST 5. It's sorted by project number. Again, shaded projects indicate completed or closed out lines. Active projects are in bold text. And everything looks good except for that 60335 district salary account. It's DCSD salary to be specific. Tables 10H through, 10A through 10H provide cost data by region, and inside each region, the projects are organized by their name. so you don't have to know the number to find them. Each table is color-coded to match the district map at the front of the report and on the district website. There's the DCSD salary account, which we mentioned in Region 0. Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 should all be clean. We did take note of the question regarding 21535. Let's scroll back up and take a quick look at it. What was it, 21635, Daniel? I'm sorry, I have 21635, yeah. That is a lakeside turf and track installation. We'll have to look into that. I believe some scope was removed from the job after. Well, we'll look into it and provide an answer.
Yep.
For the
Actually,
committee.
I think Brian had already sent me an answer on that. I'll look through my emails and
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
go over that.
I can touch on it now if you want me to.
There you go, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, please, Brian.
Yeah, the Lakeside is with similar to Clarkston, and some of the major projects in the original E-SPLOST 5 scope that were deferred. We have a contract with an architect, a commitment with an architect, Perkins & Will at Lakeside, for about $1.2 million, and they only were paid $200,000 roughly. So we need to what we need to do is back out that commitment because they're never going to bill on that contract. And I worked with the controls team last week to get that. Next month, it should report correctly, where our commitments will just show what we have committed for the turf and track installation, and that $200,000 for the old AE contract for the Lakeside Edition.
Oh, the Lakeside Edition. There you go.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you, sir.
That made sense. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we'll get it. We'll provide a blurb for Richard so he can send it back to Kathy.
Yep, that's done.
Okay, sounds good. So that takes us through the cost reports by region. That will take us out to our table 11 that carries our scheduled performance measure, should be SPM, sorry. The only new entries on the table this month are 11235 Hambrick and 20235, the Freedom Middle School Security Vestibule. Quickly, one can say that the Hambrick job was awarded in July of 2021. No way we were actually going to be able to finish the sprinkler job in one summer, this summer. But Hambrick made good progress this summer. I do want to thank the team, Brian and his team, for working on that. At Hambrick, they did complete the restroom addition for the ADA classroom, completed installation of the fire protection mains, LED lights and drop ceilings in the main wing, and we're pricing up installing terrazzo at the school's request. The fire marshal did conduct a courtesy review, so we're pretty far along. We do need next summer to finish the installation of the sprinkler drops, pressure up the system, test it, and get it certified. So a lot of work this summer. We may be able to start on the security vestibule over the winter break. I think that's our plan. And then for Freedom Middle School, that security vestibule is lagging because the custom storefront and the ballistic resistant glazing delivery is delayed, which is true for all of our security vestibules, unfortunately. Everything else is as remained from last period, so we won't go through each of those individually unless anyone has questions as we go forward. Table 12 provides the baseline start and finish and the current start and finish dates and the scheduled performance measure for E-SPLOST 4. Richard, I believe that the culinary lab is technically on hold. Is that true? A fair statement based on the CMP?
Yes. Yes, it is.
We're still carrying it. We'll wait until we get direction to either. We'll leave it where it is for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. E-SPLOST, I'm sorry, table 13 carries your E-SPLOST 5 dates and scheduled performance measure, and everything you see here is summarized on table 11. No change for any of the items as we described last week. So Brian and the team working with procurement with Richard's direction to push as many of those jobs that had their scope addition delayed into the pipeline as best we can. So we're working those one by each. Sorry, my computer's lagged. There we go. Tables 14A through 14H provide the schedule performance data for each region. And again, they are sorted by project name, so you can easily find your projects. Again, color coding matches the district map. And then table 15 provides your completed and closed out project lists sorted by SPLOST 4 versus SPLOST 5 in project number order. You can see any that recently entered closeout by looking at the top panel. Then we've got our appendices. Appendix A provides the SPLOST 4 carryover program information. Obviously, detail about the project, the budget breakdown by phase, scope description, and any updates where if there's any current activity notes that might be useful for the reader. So that's for the $270 million worth of items on table 6. Appendix B is that same program information for SPLOST 5, including the program manager, the phase, budget by project phase, current start and finish dates, description, and any activity notes that the team feels need to share. And I know the team is looking at a lot of this data to get that as accurate as we can, because as we mentioned, scopes have been changing. There have been some adds and some deletes. And then we do need the board to finalize what they're going to do with the SPLOST 5 adjustments. And then we'll make those changes once the board has formalized that action. That's Appendix B. Appendix C carries your funding information broken down by funding source, your sales tax, your bond, and your GISFIC reimbursements. And that's broken down by month with the cumulative. So at any point in time, one can see where our funding stood. Appendix D, similarly, it combines the funding together, but it provides you with commitments and expenditures. So at any point along the timeline in the SPLOST cycle, you can see any of that data. And then there's Appendix E that we mentioned previously. It takes the district, region 0 district-wide projects and explodes them. So one can see the actual facility where that work occurs. So for example, if you see 114.35 or 114.423 in the program management system, when you go to your individual regions, you'll find that 114.423 at the various schools where it occurs in that region. The .1714, that's the GADOE facility code for Chamblee. It's consistently 5055 GADOE facility code for Dunwoody High School. So Appendix E does that for you for all the projects that are in Region 0 that are bundled up. You can see the individual expenditures by facility in each region. Oh, and that takes us to the end of the walkthrough. I wanted to share a little bit of data that is in the executive summary. This is a table that shows the status of our major projects. We finished up Druid Hills accessibility improvements, roofing at Ashford Park, Crockett, Oak Grove, DeKalb Alternative, Winbrook, Chamblee Turf, McClendon, Kelly Lake, and Pine Ridge ADA restroom upgrades. All that work was complete at the start of school. The track at McNair is close to completion, and I think there's Lakeside. Lakeside is slowed down a little bit because the asphalt underlayment of the track needs to be replaced. It's in such poor shape that the experts say we have to replace it all. So we've got a request for a change order into the system for that work. Then by project phase, you can see we've got 21 plus 13 or 34 in construction or closed out. That's about half the inventory. And we've got another 21-ish in design or planning. And so we're pretty much working through most of the inventory, although our schedule tells us that about 150 million of that won't finish till next month. And I think we do. We have a couple photos. Here's your auditorium addition at Cedar Grove. It does look good, folks. I would admit that. We hope to finish this week. We can get the fire marshal approving the elevator installation. Not this week, I would hope next week. This photo's this is actually in July, so we're much further along here in August. This is the actual auditorium seating area. You see the ceiling baffles, sound system in place. Let's see what else we have. Oh, I mentioned high tower, HVA system replacement. These are the big hydronic pumps that feed the, call it temperate water, supply and return to the individual water source heat pumps in the classroom and other spaces. And that system seems to be running well. Haven't heard of any bugs or problems, so good work by the team there. This is a sample, I guess you would say, of what the work looks like for security vestibule that we can do now while school is in session. You can see the bulkheads in place. As soon as we get our storefront and our ballistic resistant glazing and a break in school, which we might be able to use Thanksgiving, we can go ahead and install the actual storefront and vestibule right in this space here. Let's see what else. Okay, again, this was late July. This is the ADA restroom at Canby Lane. The restrooms are complete, functional, passed inspection. I think I know that we have a couple restrooms that have temporary doors, and the new doors are expected the week of Labor Day. Other than that, I think those projects went pretty well. With that said, I'll be happy to take questions. If there are any.
Hey, this is Kevin. I got a quick question for you. And it's just, I think this is just a newbie question. Mel, on page 6 on chart 2, I was looking at the difference between, I think was coming up in maybe September, there was a large projected expenditure versus the run rate. Is there a
page 6?
Page 6, yeah. So as you see that large jump in July, going all the way up to starting on the July 22. What is there an easy button to see what that jump is going to be for going from July up to July, going through July 23? Is there an easy button to understand what drives that versus, I mean, obviously our run rate is way below that.
That's the schedule that is driving that curve, Mr. Alexander.
Okay.
So if we're able to keep the projects that you see on the schedule charts on that schedule, this would be the work off of the burn rate for them.
Okay.
If we're able to keep that. Obviously, our concern right now is we've got a number of jobs on table 11 that have been delayed.
Okay.
And I actually know that 12 of those projects, the 12 that are all the same based on the board action, it's about $45 million worth of business. So you're right. There's a lot that has to happen for us to be able to make that out to the end of 2023.
Right. Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Mr. Alexander has his hand up. Oh, you still do?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm about to take it down. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me take
That's
it down.
fine. The more the merrier.
Nice.
With that, Kathy, I'll yield the floor. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mel. Are we sure we don't have any questions for Mel?
I'm sorry, Kathy, I want to If you don't mind, can I share an update?
Absolutely.
Okay, I wasn't necessarily agendized, but for those who audited the board meeting last week, I provided some data about the reconciliation between the Munis system and the Proliant system. And it turns out my math was wrong on one chart. I will correct that now if you give me an opportunity. We showed, if I may, share my screen again. And we shared this in response to the board members' question, so everybody should have it. We showed this calculation at 0.95 as the 5.9, roughly 5.98 million as 0.95% error. Well, it was dividing into the 151. It shouldn't. It should be dividing into the 157. So that's my error. You think I checked my work enough to find it. When you correct the error, oops, sorry, and you divide the 5979152 into the 157, 364,673, you get 3.8%. So the delta is still 5.98 million roughly, but the percentage accuracy is not 99%, it's more like 96.5%. I think from an accounting standpoint, not really material, but I did want to make that correction to the math. And we can share that with Richard, so he can share that with you. That was all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank
Had to
you.
go find my cord. My battery was getting low. All right. And next on the agenda is the facilities maintenance report. Richard.
All right, I am going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. I just see you. Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, forgot to hit the share button.
Yes, sir, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so the two items that were on the list here on the agenda was the work order life cycle. And
You know what, Richard?
uh-huh.
Yeah, when you turn away, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. You would think, oh, I'm having to use a longer laptop. So the two items that we were going to look at was work order. Yeah, update on the work orders. So hopefully y'all don't see my office updates available. Maybe you did. So as far as the work order life cycle, I'll go through this flow chart. Bobby put this together. Bobby Moncrief, our director of facilities, had put this together. These are the steps that we go through, and the life cycle or the length of this varies depending on what the service is. And you know, if we're able to get equipment or get material out to the school, and also just based on the severity of whatever. Like there was an item today where we had received a photo of a broken sink at a school that was sent in by a parent, and it said, you know, broken sink. And so Bobby had somebody, or Bobby might have actually been there to look at it. And it was a faucet that needed to be, or a handle that just needed to be tightened. So that was something that was relatively quick, and we had a plumber go out and tighten it, and it was done. Some other items, like, of course, HVAC can be much longer, or if it's an electrical issue or something like that, it can be much longer because we have to wait on parts. And HVAC is a particular issue because I've been told as long as 40 weeks to get some of the HVAC equipment in. and other materials, also roofing materials and things. It's taking a long time, a lot longer than normal to get this equipment in. So, but to just go through this live, so a school, somebody at the school would, and typically it would be a head custodian or a plant engineer or somebody in the principal's office would, so the item is identified at the school level. So, you know, they see that there is a roof leak or that the AC went off in a particular classroom, or emails, but say that you know, there was a roof leak in a bathroom. They would put the work order in. The work order is sent in by the school. We're doing all of this through our ERP system, Munis now. So it is submitted. It's received by the facility manager, and then they will either approve or disapprove of it based on whether it's really a work order or whether it's an item that the school should handle themselves. You know, if there's a light out and it's a matter of replacing lamps, that's something the school should be handling. But if there's a classroom of lights that won't come on, then of course that's a work order and we need to send an electrician out. So once that is approved or disapproved, an email is sent back to the school to let them know the status. And then the request is actually turned into a work order. And as you see there, there's a second email that goes to let them know what the work order information is. That work order then is assigned to a tech who is will go out to the school. They'll assess the issue. They go, they look, they see, oh, it's you know, it's a ballast on a single light that needs to be replaced, or it's a you know, a whole classroom, the lights are out and won't come on, so it's, you know, it's something a little more involved. So they assess the issue. They order parts if necessary, if it's something they can't fix right away. If it's an issue like HVAC, which is, you know, happens a lot in the warmer months, then we have to strategize to come up with, you know, either take some portable air conditioners out to get the room cooled, you know, come up with with something to solve a problem immediately, because we can't have the students sitting in a hot classroom while we were waiting to get parts in. So parts are ordered. We will strategize on how to fix that. The tech will actually go out and perform the work, and when they complete the job, the facility manager will go and will inspect to make sure that the work was done, and then we'll close out the work order, and that generates an email that is then sent to the school to let them know that the job has been completed. And as I said, the duration of that will vary depending on the severity of what the issue is. If it's a, you know, if a entire school is down, that takes a first priority. Entire wing is down, that's another priority level. If it's a, you know, a single classroom, that would take a lesser priority than obviously a full school, but it's still a priority. Then also things like life safety items will take a priority over, you know, something like, you know, plumbing is, you know, a toilet is backed up or something like that. A life safety will take priority over that. But like I said, depending on the issue itself and the severity of it, the lifetime of that from start of a item to it being completed can vary from a day or two to quite a long time if it's a mechanical issue and we're waiting on equipment. But like I said, in that case, of course, we put portable units out there. So the next item that I was going to share are the, and this was actually in response to an 11 Alive. Let me scroll back. these are in response to an 11 Live Open Records request for items that were done basically at all the schools. So what we put together were the items that were completed at all of the middle schools, high schools, and elementary schools. And this is a combination of work orders, but it's also a combination of the walkthroughs that Bobby and the regional facility managers did. So they went through, starting with Druid Hills High School and Lakeside High School and some of the others. They went through and walked every school and identified issues, ranked those issues as a priority 1, 2, or 3, and those priorities were based on essentially time to repair. Priority 1 were things that could be repaired very quickly, like replacing light lamps or light bulbs that were out, or replacing ceiling tiles. That was something that can be done quickly. Priority 2 was something, and priority 1 was 0 to 30 days. Priority 2 would be complete within 60 to 90 days. And priority 3 would be longer and would typically require a larger project to perform. So these are, can y'all hear me okay? I have a message here. Low system resources may affect audio quality. So make sure y'all can hear well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So you can see this was, of course, these are alphabetical. I went through Arabia Mountain, Cedar Grove. And again, these are all items. These weren't all the items that were found. These are all the items that were found and completed since May 1st through August 9th. And there were, for high school, there were 909 items that have been found and completed. And you can see, it's things simply, a shower head that's leaking, glass missing in a fire extinguisher, doors not closing. Here's a really bad one. Sewage comes up through the floor, lights out. So these are all items that had been identified and have been completed. And I'll scroll to the, as you see, there are a number of these. Scroll to the bottom. Oh, I'm sorry. Elementary school was 909. High schools were 1,075. So there are 1,075 items done, and things like bulbs out, lights not working, bad fixtures. Then middle school. Let that go back up. Middle school, there were 604 items that had been found and completed since May 1st through August 9th. One thing I did want to point out on the high schools, and you might have seen this at the top of the list. This was all the high schools minus Druid Hills. There was a separate list generated for Druid Hills. That was the way the information was requested. So it's actually on a separate list by itself. And let me get to the middle school. So 604 items. Again, anything such as graffiti on walls and on stalls, and stained ceiling tiles, lights out, missing ceiling tiles. Let's see, Stevenson Middle School, lights out, walls need touch-up painting, baseboard coming off from the walls. So there were a number of things that could easily be done. HVAC repair in room 114 at Sequoia Middle, work that was needed, some repair work in the kitchen. So you can see the various things here.
I had a question on all this, Richard. Can you go back to the life cycle?
Yeah.
So where did it fail? Were the schools not just getting these work orders in the system? And that's what happened, or what caused the failure that y'all had to do the work walkthroughs and find all these items?
I think it was a combination. I mean, some of these items are work orders that were in, but some of these were not in the system as work orders. They had not been put in. Why, I'm not sure. You know, that is one thing that we are going to be talking with the state about, is what happened and how did it happen and how can we prevent it from happening again in the future. I think the work order system is something, certainly something we can work on and make sure that everyone is familiar with. And you know, another thing that will help as well, we are actively trying to bring in more staff, more of the preventative maintenance staff that will allow our facility managers to be out in the buildings more. Also more administrative staff, so that those, you know, facility managers aren't doing administrative work. They're actually in the buildings and they can coordinate with principals and the technicians in the building, so they can hear firsthand what the issues are. So I think that is, I think that will be a big help too. But I don't know that there was any one item. I think it's probably a combination of the not putting in work orders, and some of it might be, I would imagine that you know, some items had been repaired, but then maybe had already failed again. Because I know there was one item that we had actually at Druid Hills High School. There was a wall, a low knee wall that followed, it was a brick knee wall that followed a stair, an exterior stair. And at the bottom of it, there were maybe a half dozen bricks. The top corner had been knocked off. So we had a mason go out there one day and he replaced that. He re-bricked that and had it finished, and went back out the next day and somebody had already kicked the bricks out of place. So it had already been vandalized. So, you know, even though things are repaired, they suffer quite a bit of use, and I'll say some abuse. So it's you know, could be a matter of things just failing multiple times.
Hey, Richard, I have a question. It's a two-part question.
Okay.
One, this system, is this the new maintenance system that this is the new maintenance system, correct?
Well, what you're seeing right now, this is just a, and I don't know if
Not
this
the
was
spreadsheet. Yeah, not the spreadsheet, but the maintenance system
the
that you're
system
speaking
itself, right? The system itself is a module that is new. It's in our Munis accounting and ERP system, but yes, it is new.
Okay, so my question is, because and I kind of and I forget because I didn't see who asked the question earlier about the spreadsheet, but that is that to prepare that spreadsheet. I don't know if that was exported from a system or if it was manually done. My question is, since there is a new the new system, is there a reporting feature, such as, you know, you talk about the brick wall, you know, it was submitted this day, it was repaired this day, and okay, we have to go back and do something else. You know, is this, like if the school is doing, is this a new ticket or old? Because like if we call like tech support or anyone like that, and we open a ticket, you will get a ticket to track it with. So that's one part. The second part is there in this system, what type of tracking is available, such as, you know, and can you make notes on it? Like you mentioned the HVAC system. And so the parts are taking, you know, it's an extra long time. So say for instance, if let's say Cedar Grove input or submitted a maintenance ticket, but for HVAC, and the part is on back order and it's not going to be available to October 15th. With this new system, can you do that? Can you make notes on these tickets? And is there a way to run a report that says, okay, we were able to get the HVAC for Cedar Grove fixed in 46 days. We were able to get I don't know, the wall at Druid Hills fixed in 14 days. Is there that type of granular reporting that can be done in this new system?
I'm going to say, I believe there is a way to put notes in. I'm not completely familiar with the system. Actually, I'm not familiar with the system since it is part of it's a module in our ERP system. But just based on talking with Bobby, I'm going to say that no, there is not a good way to provide that type of granular report. If you remember last month, I provided a small spreadsheet that had, I think we had 7 different categories for each region. You know, had HVAC, electrical, number of work orders. Bobby had to run 49 separate reports to get those 49 numbers for each region. I do remember that. So it's not like a report can be written or it can be, at least not right now, that a report can be generated that would say, look at all HVAC units that have taken more than 30 days to repair, kind of thing. It's a little more tedious right now.
I think that my suggestion would be, because, like, you know, preferably we won't have an 11 Alive or Fox 5 or, you know, WSB reaching out wanting an open records anymore. But when those type things happen, it takes manpower. And I know it took a lot of manpower. I'm not going to say it was unnecessary, but because it was indeed necessary, but it takes so much manpower to get that, get the information for the different schools. And, you know, having worked in IT before, there has to be, I'm not familiar with the system, but I just know where we are as a world now, there has to be some type of technology that can help this reporting for these maintenance issues, where it's not so laborious, you know, for someone has to sit. I don't know how long it took him to run 46 reports, but it has to be something that can be done to help this process a lot more smoothly. So
right,
it has to be.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll have to work on with the product developer.
Yeah, you should be able to create an aging or open work order report and then put a filter how many days aging it is. I mean, that's pretty simple for any work order system.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I just, yeah, okay, so I thank you for that follow-up, but that was my question / concern. So
okay.
I'm back on mute.
All right. I saw Sabrina's hand go up.
Yeah, Sabrina had her hand up next.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Richard.
Hey.
Have a question regarding the work order life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did not hear would include service level agreement days. Do you all have, in addition to this work order life cycle, agreed upon SLAs? So when let's say the first part of the life cycle where the school puts in the ticket and then it's either approved or disapproved or declined. What is the time period of response? So from the time a ticket is placed, I'm not speaking to the latter part of, having to get a person out to do the work once the work order has been created. But do you all have an agreed upon service level agreement that states, if I, as the principal, place a work order, then I expect some sort of response, whether it's approved or declined, or it's moving to the next step? Are there service level agreement dates based on the priorities? Because I know you mentioned, if it's a life and safety, or if it's a health issue, or is there a certain time period that you have to respond?
I don't have that information with me. Bobby would know for sure. I know though, but it's only a couple of days for that. But I don't know if we actually have actually something documented for that. But I can check and find out.
Okay, because once again, I'm all about establishing the expectation. Let people know what to expect. So that everybody understands the baseline of what is reasonable and what is not in a time period.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Kevin?
Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. I am familiar with Munis. I helped build it for one of my county's Board of Health. So you all should have a reporting and an analytical module that will point to Munis. And it may be as simple as a self-configuration, or whoever has the administrative capabilities for report writer.
Yeah.
Because that should be standard. If it's not being done, somebody should know. Maybe just not, you may not know, but somebody should know.
Right. It's being developed, the module is being developed through Tyler. So they would have to generate the reporting, or at least the link. If there's a reporting module, they would have to generate the reporting link for that.
I'm sorry, Richard, most of that broke up. Did anybody else hear him clearly, or was it?
I didn't, but I didn't know if it was my phone or not, but I did.
I thought it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I keep getting messages every
No, I didn't hear.
It says that audio quality is poor, and other messages. I'm not sure what the issue is, but no, what I was saying is Sabrina, we are working through Tyler. If you're familiar with Munis, Tyler is the one that has been developing this for us, and we would have to get with them, determine. And I'm not familiar with Munis, so I'm not sure how you develop or how the reports develop. This is a module. The work order was a module that Tyler helped to develop or develop for us. For this, we would have to get with them on the reporting and what we would need for that. Was that clear? That time? Did everybody hear?
Every few words, Richard.
Oh.
I understood what you said though. And I think one of the main things is you want to make sure that you have I'm not saying bells and whistles, because this is still a public entity, but you need to not only just have the system, but be able so that it's useful for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to shout into the little mic on this laptop. I'm not even sure where. I think I see it.
But now you sound great when you shout into the mic.
And I'm actually still I move 6 inches to the left and it seems to go away. So I'll have to quit moving 6 inches to the left to make notes. Right. So the other thing, the last item I can get this little banner to go away, was elementary schools. Hold on just a moment. There we go. So there were 909 items on elementary schools that were completed. So just scrolling up from the bottom, you can see some of those.
Yeah,
here.
hold on one second, Richard, because Kevin
Go
has
ahead.
had his hand up. He's not asked
Oh, I'm
his
sorry.
question
I'm
yet.
sorry, Kevin.
Oh, that's okay.
Go
No,
ahead.
this is kind of dovetailing into the, I think maybe we'll support a lot more. What I'm trying, what is more of a comment. And it kind of goes back to, as we opened up the meeting, that we had a comment from from the community talking about the new website that has all the data. So as a comment, I would hope that maybe your team is looking at that website, because as I look at your spreadsheet here, where you have thousands of items on the website, as far as open work orders and that tracking that is presented to the public, that number is way smaller than this number. So I would hope that you guys at some particular point in time, more especially as we see, we have these scenarios that pop up and we get open records reports and all that stuff. Now that we have a set of data here that's been presented, now when they go and look at what's being presented to the public, that could be concerning if the numbers are wildly off.
Right.
That's just for comment.
All right, I made a note for us to look at the website and make sure it's updated. Anybody else? So the elementary schools are, pretty much this is the same as the others. There are 909 items that are complete. And again, this was between May 1st and August 9th. This being a combination of work order items and items that Bobby and the facility managers saw when they were out there, which is, I would say that's primarily what most of this is, knowing where this was, where this information was pulled from. So you can see, we'll stop here at Stoneview. So we needed stripping and waxing in some of the classrooms, tissue holders missing in some of the bathrooms. Got 2 of them there, light covers missing, ceiling tiles that needed to be replaced, pressure washing the building, HVAC work, a number of items. I know, well, door handles to trailers are broken. That's one thing that we've been asking all of the principals to let us know about also, is any exterior door issues that they have, so we can make sure that we are addressing those to make sure that the buildings are safe. Some more HVAC repairs, need to put in a compressor for the restroom trailers. Repairing stall doors. You see a number of lights out, and painting and ceiling tiles at these particular schools. This is Stone Mill and Stone Mountain. Scroll up a little more. Princeton. Yeah, and it's a lot of the same items as far as lighting and ceiling tiles. And a lot of these ceiling tiles could be issues with the if there is a mechanical equipment that's above the ceiling, if it starts to drip, or if the drain pan for that system starts to drip, that can be an issue and can stain or can cause spots. As I'm sure you've seen them before, spots on the on ceiling tiles. Some of those spots you see also are the result of condensation on some of the water lines going to the units. That if the insulation has if it's aged and it's off the pipes, you can see a line of spots going down a hallway. So you can see a few of the other items here. So soiled ceiling tile and lights throughout. So that was a fair, and that's at Marvin. So all of these items, all 909 of these are completed. Total, there were 2,588 items that were found or items that were completed. I didn't have a count for the total of items found. These are the ones that were completed. There were 92 of the 106 at Druid Hills High School that were completed as well. Some of the items there are things that we're either waiting on. I know there was some carpet that we were waiting on. There was some room signage that we were going to do as part of the modernization, other items like that. So I see one item in the chat. Okay, that's not a question though. That's it. That's all I had. If there are no other questions, Kathy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I think it might be beneficial if Bobby, came to one of our meetings.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
we can kind of directly ask
one
him
of
some
these.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's see, next on our agenda is the new business and notifications of upcoming community meetings and other events in the community. I don't think we had any.
No, we don't.
Okay. And is that due to COVID?
No, I don't know that I would have to get with Hans and ask Hans, if there's anything that's going to be coming up in the a little bit distant future. But no, it's not due to COVID. I'm not aware of any of the planning meetings or anything like that that we've had in the past when we were doing the CMP and some of the other items.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Unfinished business is candidate for the open position. Is there a plan?
So we have reached out to. So what we have, in regions 1 and 4, we have one person each in those regions. Region 6, we have 0 serving, but we don't have any applicants in there either.
Richard, I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you. You go in and out, and unfortunately, I'm not like Sabrina. I can't pick up on the words. I'm not.
And that is very frustrating. I'll have to get a better camera. I don't have my setup that I had previously yet, so I'll need to, when I get that back, hopefully before next month, it will be better. So what I was saying, and I just blocked my camera on the laptop. What I was saying was we have in region 1 and region 4, that's where we really, in region 6, those are the 3 regions that we need to have more committee members. Region 1, we only have 1 person. Region 4, we only have 1 person. In region 6, we have no one. We have 2 applicants in region 1 and 2 in region 4 and 0 applicants in region 6. We've reached out to those applicants, and 2 of those applicants are still interested in joining, and they were actually both in region 4. So what we would like to do, Kathy, is go ahead and start talking about time to schedule interviews for those 2, because we just need 1 position. And I think last time it was you and Daniel and maybe Min was involved. No, Min had been involved in the past, I believe. So do we want to talk about that now, or do you want us to schedule times for the 3 or 4 of us to get together. And we could do these interviews through a Teams meeting as well. So Min and Daniel said they would do a, my audio is not working. Okay. Can you hear me, Kathy? This is thoroughly frustrating.
Yeah, it's choppy.
Okay. I will have to see if I can get a better setup then for next meeting. This is not working very well. I had seen in the comments a number of people saying they would like to be involved, so I will let the committee determine.
Okay, I'm confused in what are we volunteering for?
Okay, so you might not have been able to hear. So we had 4 candidates that we had looked at in the last go round, and we contacted those 4. Of those 4, there are 2 candidates that are interested in serving on the committee. I'd like to go ahead and set up interviews for those 2 candidates. And that's why I didn't know if we wanted to go ahead and set those, set a time for that now, or if we wanted to do that offline, me and you and Daniel.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay. And then there were a number of people that commented in the chat that they would be willing to serve on the interview panel.
Yeah, we don't need the entire committee to be on those interviews.
Yeah, because we're going to have probably 3 people on our side, so just 1 or 2 from the committee would work.
I would think that would be appropriate because we already have about 4 people from the DeKalb County school system.
Yeah. So I'll send you and Daniel a call, an invite, and we can set up a call. So Min, the openings were in regions 1 and regions 4 and region 6. Those are the 3 that we have the least number of people in. We have 1 committee member from region 1, 1 committee member from region 4, and 0 from region 6.
So we need to focus on 6.
Yeah, we do, but we don't have any candidates from region 6, and we have no one that's on from region 6 right now either. So,
where's region 6?
Oh, hold on just a minute. Oh, thank you. Is that Mel? It's the towers in Columbia cluster. Did y'all get that? Towers in Columbia clusters.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the candidates that we have are the ones that the 4 that we had, we contacted, Monica called, and the 2 that were still interested are from region 4. And that would then give us 2 people, selecting one of those would give us 2 people in region 4. The only region that has, that does not have 2 people in it would be region 7. Currently has 3 committee members. Regions 1 and 4 only have 1 committee members. And region 6, of course, doesn't have any. So regions 2, 3, and 5 have 2 members. when this committee was originally formed, we had 5 regions, and the intent was to have 2 members per region and 2 at large. So we're still sticking with the 12 committee members, and we're trying to balance those as much as possible across the district. So what I'll do, Kathy and Daniel, I'll set up a time for us to talk and see when the best time to schedule interviews, and then y'all can decide who from the committee will be on the interview panel, if that's okay.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
okay, so
plan.
just to confirm, I have Sabrina, Kim, and me. Is that right?
Yes,
That's
I
what I
did say
saw,
that I would. Yeah, I did say that I would.
Okay.
But if someone else wants to do it more, I'm okay with
No,
that.
we're going, if it's enough, we're going to make sure that everybody has some fun.
Yay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll let everybody know. Was that it? Any questions for Richard in regards to the open position? All right, the next on the agenda is the committee training.
Okay. Before we jump to that, I'm going to I was looking for Monica, get Monica to remind me.
Oh, Richard, we can't hear you again.
Okay. Now I was just looking for, there's Monica. Monica, if you remind me to set that meeting up. In the next couple of days, we'll set something up with Kathy and Daniel.
I will. We'll talk about it. Thank you.
Okay. The committee training, Kathy, we had talked about having it as a separate meeting in September, but do we want to wait for the new member to come on board, or do we want to go ahead and do
Yeah, I think that we've been waiting long enough.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want to wait anymore. I don't know how anybody else feels. So those are my sentiments.
My suggestion, I was going to say to wait, because we have already been waiting. And if the new committees are going to be here, let's just say within the next 30 days, then I would say, maybe let's push it to October instead of September, because, we're that close. So they will be, but that's my vote.
I'm with Kim. Let's just try to minimize the number of meetings and trainings, and just schedule for October.
Well, here's my concern. My concern is that we've been putting this off because of what we just talked about. So I don't want to put it off again, and especially don't want to put it off for just one person, because this person may or may not be chosen in September. They may not start until October. They may not even start until November. So then that means that we don't meet in December. So we're talking about January 2023. So I don't want to put this off anymore.
Kathy, another suggestion could be, if we do proceed, that it is recorded. That way it's memorialized for any future committee members as well.
That's a good idea, Sabrina. Thank you. And my thought process was more along the lines of, if it's one person, then we can, kind of pull that person to the side, and we can have a training session with them.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Is there anything else, Kathy, on that?
Yep. I think if we can we agree to having the training for in September?
Yes.
And our next meeting for the SPLOST committee would be on the 28th. Yeah, it's the 28th. So is there any objection if we have an additional meeting where this is the only thing that we talk about is the training? And if we do it for an hour. Okay, thanks, Ming. Anybody else have any objections?
No objection.
Or, I'm sorry. Daniel,
No
I'm
objection
sorry.
for me. No
Okay,
objection
thank
for
you.
me.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so hearing none, we'll work with DeKalb County School System staff, the operations staff, to get this training set up and scheduled for next month. All right. So collection number 11, a collection and recommendation from the meeting and follow-up matters. I didn't hear any recommendations other than the meeting with Richard and Daniel to set up the interviews, and that Sabrina, Kim, and Ming would like to participate in the interviews. And I believe that was it. And the suggestion that that DeKalb County review the dashboard that was suggested by the community member.
Madam Chair, didn't you say you wanted Bobby to attend the next meeting?
Oh, yes, and that one too. Thank you so much, Daniel.
And Mr. Boyd is looking into any standard response times for the work order.
Well, you know what, Sabrina, I think that will come when that will be one of the questions that probably we need to ask Bobby when he comes to attend our meeting. Okay, now the Sabrina can't understand you.
Well, I was gonna say.
That sounds good.
That's me. I was gonna say, can we let him know that question, that is a question that we have, so that he can at least come prepared for it and not have to get back with us on it.
Yep, that sounds good, Kimberly. It's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I've already noted that to talk to him about it.
All right, number 12. I'm sorry, Lisa, you had something?
Yeah, should we also note about making sure they're maximizing the use of a report writer module?
Yeah, I think, yeah, Sabrina, if you can mention what you mentioned before about the UNIS system, when Bobby comes, maybe he doesn't know about the report writer. But I would think that we definitely need to look into, or somebody needs to look into getting a consistent report out of that system.
Will do.
Okay. But I had that down as well. Is there anything else?
Yeah,
All right.
I wanted to dovetail on that last statement about the report writer, because the importance is that the county is reporting numbers. So there's an aggregation point somewhere. So it's just really connecting the dots between the internal teams and making sure that everybody's on the same page, because it's coming from somewhere. because it's been reported to the public.
Yeah, I think that, you know, since it is a new system, and I'm not making excuses for anyone because I don't, and I don't like excuses. You have to, you gotta get used to a system. So it may be some functionality that the normal users don't know how to use. So, all right, any other comments? Okay, we are a little bit beyond our time, about 6 minutes. So any announcements? Any announcements from anybody? All right, so I have 2 quick announcements. Just wanted to thank, and Allison, please don't kill me. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, but is it Getz? Am I saying that right?
Gertz.
Gertz.
Okay, okay, thank you. We had a very nice conversation a couple of weeks ago. Enjoyed meeting her and talking and chatting with her. She is always on our meetings every month, and I do appreciate her presence. So I just wanted to mention that. I did meet last Thursday with the superintendent. We had a very good conversation. Our meetings are on her agenda, but obviously, you know, with the start of school, I'm sure she's busy, and today I believe is curriculum night. So she's out amongst the community. So just wanted to mention that I did talk to her, and she asked me a question that I'd like to pose to the committee. And her question was, why is there an undercurrent of distrust as it relates to DeKalb County School District? I'm gonna repeat the question again. Why is there an undercurrent of distrust as it relates to DeKalb County School District? I gave her my opinion, but I told her that I think that question should be asked of the committee, of each committee member. And if you feel so moved to send me a response, or a response to that question, I will definitely forward it over to Dr. Tinsley so that she can have that information. But, you know, just kind of ponder on it. And if you want to send me an email with your answer, feel free. Also, so when I did meet with the superintendent, we've decided that we're going to meet on a quarterly basis just to touch bases and make sure that everything is going okay, make sure that since this is her superintendent's advisory committee, that, you know, we provide her advice on what we're seeing. So just want to let everybody know that hopefully she'll, you know, it's on, like I said, it's on her schedule so that she can attend our meetings when she can. So those are all the announcements that I had. And oh, I'm sorry. You know, I have to say this, committee member attendance, per our bylaws, you know, we do have to attend at least, I think it's 10 meetings, at least 10 meetings, but we're striving for a goal of 95% attendance for everybody. And I did notice that there were 2 people that were missing today. One we did get information on, and the other we did not. And I see that Robert Little was here and now he's gone. So please make sure that you put this time on your calendars and you schedule it. Derek, I know you were late today. If it's better that we push the meeting back a half an hour, please let us know so that we can make that adjustment. If you can't make it at 6 o'clock, if it cuts it too much, then you know, maybe we can look at moving the meeting to 6:30. and doing it from 6:30 to 8. So just a suggestion. We can discuss that during our training. Anybody else have any? And yes, we are keeping attendance with the meeting minutes, and also we're keeping the attendance for to make sure that everybody shows up and stands with their commitment. Okay. Okay, thank you, Derek. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me or text me. I'm always available. Even if I'm not available, I will get to you. So having said that, it is now 7:41. If there's nothing else and no objections, our meeting is now adjourned.